Let's begin now with an acquaintance of Sydney and our first person of interest, 18-year-old Carl Dane, who authorities have called into question just 3 days after Sydney's body was recovered.
I guess you know what we want to talk to you about the situation with Sydney.
Yeah.
What do you know about it, Carl?
About her, that whole situation, or just in general her?
I want to know what you know about what happened to Sydney.
I don't know anything.
Do you remember where you were on Sunday night, what was that, 18th?
I was sitting at home.
It's a pretty quick answer. How do you know where you were that long ago?
I just remembered, I remember what I'm doing, every once in a while.
Most people who are being honest have a reasonable memory. When suspects have a memory of extremes, detectives will see that as a red flag for deception. For example, if a suspect remembers what they were doing on an ordinary day 2 months ago, that is unusual. Going for the other extreme, if a suspect can't remember what they did yesterday, that's also unusual. Sydney's older sister, Dakota, is brought in almost 2 weeks after Carl's interview to talk about the tragic event. While getting settled, the detective, Janice Barber, informs Dakota that she's from Chester, Illinois, and relays that it isn't unusual for her to help out with major cases from other towns.
Can you tell me about your and Sydney's relationship?
Well, we got along great till puberty. Then it was the don't touch my stuff, I hate you, fall off the face of the earth kind of thing.
Typical teenage sister.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But, we got along great unless I was on my period or she was on her period. Then we absolutely did not want to be around each other.
Sure.
But other than that, got along great unless she was trying to take my stuff and we were fighting about chores or something.
So let's talk about Sydney and her disappearing. Her disappearance is what everybody originally thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when you were notified of her disappearance?
I was at my boyfriend's house.
And who's your boyfriend?
Chad Bennett.
Okay. Last time you saw Sydney?
The Sunday before, the day before.
The day before?
The day that she went missing, I'd seen her because I came back from camping.
Okay, and what time was that?
I got home at between 11 and 11:30 in the morning.
And then how long were you and Sydney both there at the house?
Yeah.
How long?
I got there at 11:30 and I came back at about between 3 and 3:30 and left about 3:30, so.
Dakota had apparently gone camping on Saturday, July 17th, 2 days before Sydney's disappearance. She promptly returned home the next day on the 18th. Along with Dakota, her 20-year-old boyfriend, Chad Bennett, had spent a couple of hours at the girl's home before the pair departed for Chad's house later that afternoon. According to Dakota, this was the last time she saw her sister. Shortly thereafter, something unexpectedly sinister was carried out, and things would never be the same.
Man, watching Sydney's story hit like a freight train. This vibrant kid, fishing by the creek one day, fighting teenage battles the next, and suddenly, gone. That normal life mask hid so much pain. The divorce ripping her world. Those suicide attempts screaming for help no one fully caught. It's that quiet desperation that gets me. How a family's fractures can turn lethal without warning. Her mom's fear turning to nightmare? Unbearable. You feel it, right? The what-ifs that haunt forever.
2 days after Dakota's interview, we meet Chad, who may possess salient details regarding Sydney's tragic final moments. The detective begins by shaking Chad's hand, a gesture of respect, likely aimed at building a positive rapport. Chad sits slumped over with his legs spread apart, coming across as unaffected by the circumstances. Then again, this may be a comfortable position. Nonetheless, the detectives have most likely taken note of this nonchalant behavior, and they proceed to question Chad about his whereabouts on Saturday, July 17th.
Yeah, what did you do that night?
Saturday.
Okay. Did you go out with your friends or anything?
Maybe it was a Friday or a Saturday. No, at the Carl's house.
Okay. But you don't know which one it was? And, so when was it the next time you saw Dakota?
Yeah.
So Sunday?
Yeah.
And when was it on Sunday you saw Dakota?
I think it was Sunday.
Right, but what time?
I couldn't tell you.
Morning or afternoon?
I wasn't morning till you could sleep.
Oh, you usually sleep in?
Yeah, so it'd be like probably in the afternoon, probably after like 1.
So how long do you think you stayed there?
Couple hours.
A couple hours? Where'd you stay at in the house?
Cody's room.
Chad tells the detective that following his short stay at Dakota's house, the pair decided to head to Carbondale, Illinois, where they picked up their friends Carl and 17-year-old James Glazier along the way. They apparently stopped at Buffalo Wild Wings for dinner, but left around 8 o'clock before dropping Carl and James off at another friend's house, 15-year-old Robbie Mueller, who we'll also hear from soon enough. Following this, Chad drove Dakota back to his house, where she spent the night. Since her phone was supposedly turned off, Chad had awoken to a panicked call from Tracy the next day, on July 19th. Tracy asked that he inform Dakota that Sydney had once again gone missing. But Dakota wasn't too worried, as this seemed to be a regular occurrence. However, when she returned home from Chad's shortly thereafter, it was clear that something was horribly wrong. We pick up where Dakota is detailing what happened on that unexpectedly harrowing day.
So then you're at home about noon.
Yeah.
Then what proceeds from there?
When I got home, when I got home, my mom asked me if it was me at the house. I was like, yeah. She's like, have you heard anything from Sydney or heard anyone that knew where Sydney is? I was like, no. She's like, well, I was told, which is one of her friends, that Corbin had seen her up at that lunch thing, the free lunch they do with one of the churches here, and had seen her up there. And she's like, and I went up there, and one of the ladies that was working there, they'd seen her walking uptown at about 7 o'clock in the morning by the high school with a lady that looked like she was about her late 20s, early 30s. She's like, do you know anyone that Sydney would know that's that age? I was like, no. I was like, I don't know who hangs out with besides Carly and Jessica. And she was like, okay. And she's like, do you know? She's like, has anyone been on her MySpace or anything? I was like, no.
So you would go and check on MySpace?
Yeah, we were checking on MySpace every day to see if she'd gotten on.
Okay.
Because the last time she ran away, she kept getting on MySpace and making contact.
Okay.
And after a few days of her not making contact, that's when we thought there was something weird about this, something not right.
When did you think something was weird and not right?
Probably about Wednesday.
Unfortunately, this gut instinct will prove to be terribly correct, though her family could not have foreseen the unimaginable circumstances of Sydney's last moments.
Because me on Monday, a little bit after I came back, we went in her room to look to see if she took anything or if there was anything out of place. And we noticed that thing was knocked over, that plastic dresser, that there was papers scattered all over the floor, that her money was still there, and that all the shoes were still there. And she's like, well, this is a little weird. She's like, but, maybe she just had the intentions of coming back. Tuesday, I do believe, was the day that we had noticed the drag marks. Because that's whenever we called the police station and they had Murray come down here. And Murray's like, well, it's just a chair being dragged across the rocks. But then I was just like, well, that really doesn't explain drag marks in her bedroom.
Was there a chair that had been moved?
The chair, yeah. There's a green chair that I have to stand on to hang laundry up on the hooks outside. And usually it's on the deck, but it was in the colored rocks.
And why was it there?
I don't know. Because my mom had showed it to me. She was like, come here. I was like, what? She's like, look at this chair. I was like, what about it? She's like, it looked like someone was trying to climb out of the house. I was like, so do you think that she snuck out? She's like, yeah. She's like, I think, so going downstairs, she came up here and went off the deck.
The disorderly state in which Sydney's room was left could indicate that something far worse may have happened than the teen simply having run away. Dakota follows up by telling the detective that Chad had come over to the house on that same Tuesday, July 20th. The pair supposedly watched a movie before Chad left around noon for work.
Did you guys ever talk about Sydney?
He had asked if we had found anything out, and I was like, no. I was like, we haven't found her or anything. He was like, are you looking for her? I was like, yeah. I was like, we're trying to see if anyone's seen her or not. I was like, but we haven't, seen her. And he was like, oh. He's like, well, I hope you guys find her. He's like, because your mom's already taking this hard. I was like, yeah. I was like, just a little bit.
Was he nervous?
Mm-mm.
How long have you and Chad been going out?
A year and a half.
I mean, you in love?
Yeah.
The The detective asks Dakota if she's ever gone through Chad's phone, to which she replies that she has only done so as a result of others speculating that he may have been cheating.
What would happen if he was messing around on you?
I'd be very, very, very upset.
Very upset. Okay.
Now that the detective has glimpsed a preview of Dakota and Chad's romance, she switches gears in an attempt to learn more about another union, one with a seemingly violent dynamic.
So let's talk about Chad. There's Chad and Carl. Well, there's Carl and Robbie. And what's the other boy's name? James.
These early interviews? They're chilling in their casual lies. Carl's "I remember exactly" alibi feels too pat, like rehearsed deflection, while Dakota chats sister spats like it's just drama. But peel back. That boyfriend overlap, the gang whisper, it's the slow boil before explosion. I keep thinking, how does a home turn into a trap? Sydney's room trashed, drag marks screaming struggle. It's not runaway vibes. It's violation. Heart sinks knowing the family was the threat. We're building to something evil here, and it hurts to watch unfold.
Chad's pretty good friends with these three boys.
I know he's good friends with Carl, but James, he just met apparently I've known James since I was little, but I don't remember it. I've never known James. Whenever my dad moved back here, James was always over at his house, and that's how Chad met him. So it had been over years he met James. And then Turtle just moved here, and he met Turtle a couple months ago.
Okay. So what's the deal with this? Explain this gang to me that they're all in.
I have no clue. I find it stupid, and I told him that it's stupid because if you're not living in a town of 5,000 people where the majority of the people are prisoners, you don't have a gang.
Okay. But they classify themselves as a gang.
I'm not quite sure. I think something happened with the cops, and the cops started calling it a gang. Someone told the cops they were spray painting and getting illegal weapons and illegal drugs.
In the small rural community of Pinckneyville, a so-called gang had allegedly emerged, known as the P-Town Saints, consisting of a few local members, including 17-year-old James Glazier, 18-year-old Carl Dane, 20-year-old Chad Bennett, and 15-year-old Robbie Mueller, also known as Turtle. Numerous other young men were reportedly involved in the group, but the four named in particular will remain our focus. We will now meet the youngest member.
Could you state your full name?
Robbie Dawson Mueller.
Robbie's formal attire demonstrates a level of respect many might quantify as unusual for an interrogation. If a businessman was brought in for questioning, detectives would expect to see him dressed up in this manner. However, for a teenager, this outfit choice is quite abnormal. The detectives have been asking him questions relating to his involvement with the so-called gang, where he gives alarming detail on his brutal recruitment into the infamous P-Town Saints.
Your initiation is what?
3 people and to beat the shit out of you for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on when they want to stop.
Who beat you in?
Chad, James, and Carl.
Okay, and was there anybody else present?
Believe Dakota might have been present.
Did they give you a set of rules that you had to follow?
I remember getting a paper or whatever that you were supposed to memorize. Oh, I can't remember it.
Well, that's okay. I'm just saying, did you get a set of rules?
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk about stuff with the phone. Not supposed to associate with Sydney, which I would. You couldn't talk to certain people.
And one on Sydney?
Yeah.
These types of initiations are often an indication of antisocial behavior. The fact that this group can stomach the beating of someone in such a way isn't just horribly cruel, but also shows that these individuals likely derive pleasure from inflicting pain and suffering on another person. Additionally, the comment Robbie made about Sydney shows that they likely had a grudge against her. Or maybe it was just Dakota that had an issue with her sister and didn't want her boyfriend and his friends associating with her. These indications of Chad being considered the dictator or commander demonstrate that Chad may possess characteristics such as grandiosity and narcissism. It's very common among people with antisocial personality disorder to have strong narcissistic traits, as they will often exploit others without hesitation or remorse to ensure that their needs are met, no matter the cost. Additionally, Robbie alleges Chad is the dictator who ordered his henchmen to carry out all of his horrible intentions. But could he have gone so far as to plan the ultimate crime? Let's hear from the so-called commander himself.
But, I mean, with the whole Saints thing, I'm out.
Let's talk about the Saints for just a minute, okay? Because this is something we got to talk about.
I understand.
How long has it been a Saints?
Very long.
Long, how long?
Couple months, maybe.
Just a couple of months.
In recovered texts, Chad, codenamed Chuckles, had recited the official Saints pledge. For my fellow Saints, I hereby pledge my life to my brothers, and will do whatever is in my power to help them. If need be, I will die for my fellow Saints, just as they would die for me. This sort of unconditional devotion to the wannabe gang is typical among these delinquent groups. Human beings have innate desires to belong and to be accepted, which drive us to be a part of one or more social groups.
We need to get together and protect each other, do what friends are supposed to do. And, that wasn't even really that long ago. Ganja Kings just went away.
So originally you were Ganja Kings?
Yeah.
Apparently, before the not-so-well-known Peace Saints came to life, a group of young men had previously formed what was known as the Ganja Kings, although they were supposedly no longer active at this time.
It started out with a bunch of us, and we had a setup of how it would go.
What's the setup?
So hard to explain. There'd be us, and there'd be 3 people that were up above the rest.
And when you say us, who would be us and the 3 people that are above the rest?
Me, Carl, and James were the 3.
So is that 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
You're number 1 because you're the OG.
I started it,
Right.
yeah. And then after me came Carl, and after Carl came James.
So the order would be 1, 2, and 3 then?
Yeah.
Top, bottom?
Yeah.
And now, does anybody else have a tattoo like you got there with Saints on it?
Yeah, but that's gonna be done soon.
It's what?
It's gonna be done.
Why is that?
Because that was nothing but a big mistake.
Chad's ominous hand tattoo, showcasing a cross and skulls, is supposedly part of the gang initiation process, although it's not reported that Carl, James, or Robbie have the same one. This initiation system can be seen among various gangs across the world as a notable indication of one's allegiance to their group. But along with this, new members may be required to undergo a physical beating, such as the one described by Robbie.
Like you say, it did turn into a gang.
Oh, yeah.
And you were the leader of the gang. You were the OG.
Yeah, I know.
And some of your guys really got into it, didn't they?
They were all really loyal.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but they're still like dogs, to be honest. I mean, they were
Like what?
like dogs. You could tell them to do something, they'll do it. But I never did.
But that's
I mean,
the point, though. I mean, isn't that the point of a gang? You're the leader. You have your soldiers or what people want that below you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell them to do something, it's just like in the army. They're supposed to do it, isn't that right?
Gosh, yeah.
And Carl was really into that one.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
And James was really into it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. James is probably the most loyal person we had.
People who have antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic traits have an excessive need for admiration. They'll often seek out people who will worship them to satisfy their grandiose sense of self-importance and preoccupation with power and control. Having these loyal young boys around him means that Chad was likely able to use them however he saw fit, even if it meant committing a crime or harming other people. Along with this, Chad's demeaning reference to the other members as dogs may be yet another indication of possible narcissism. People with antisocial personality disorder don't fully trust anyone in their lives. They're very cynical and often anticipate that others want to do them harm or betray them, even those closest to them.
Oh God, the gang rot. P-Town Saints? More like lost boys playing God with fists and guns. Robbie's initiation beating, Chad calling them dogs to command. It's narcissism weaponized. Loyalty twisted into blind obedience. That tattoo pledge? Chilling vow of die for brothers. But for what? Petty grudges? Sydney caught in crossfire of egos. Feels like watching innocence shredded by bored cruelty. These kids weren't monsters overnight. It was unchecked rage festering. Makes you rage too. How we fail to spot the poison early.
Before we get to that, though, let's hear from none other than the gang's second in command, Carl.
So James and Robbie were both at your grandpa's house.
Yeah.
And what did you tell them, or what did they tell you they wanted to do?
They didn't really say nothing. I'm just like, hey guys, you want to go do this?
And when you said do this, what did you tell them you meant?
Told them, want to go kill somebody?
And then, did you already tell them who that somebody was?
Yeah. Right after I got off the phone with Chad.
And what time do you think that was?
Like I said, around 11 or 12.
Well before Sydney's disappearance, the P-Town Saints were having a usual get-together when Chad allegedly gave Carl a .22 Ruger semi-automatic pistol. What they had in store was evil beyond measure, and participants in the sick and twisted ploy were not limited to just Chad and Carl, as you'll soon see. For now, we're introduced to James, third in command of the gang, and he is audibly shaken. It seems he's making no effort to hide anything.
So James, when you saw your mother, is that when you decided you wanted to go ahead and talk to the police?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't do this to my mom. I love you.
I love you, baby. Come on. We gotta do this. We need to do this.
Okay, James. So you want to talk to us now, right?
Yeah, is there any, I do, but...
He's scared.
You either want to talk to us, or you don't want to talk to us. Okay?
I'll talk.
What we want is 100% of the truth, okay?
Well...
No matter how difficult it is.
That's why I've already tried to protect him once. I'm done.
Okay. And when you say try to protect him, what are you talking about?
Carl.
Okay.
You 100% sure
When you say Carl,
he can't harm me?
when you say Carl, who do you mean?
Carl Dane.
Did you hear his question?
No.
You 100% sure he's in jail and he can't harm me?
Yeah.
Yes,
he's in jail.
He's in jail.
And he can't hurt it.
No,
Okay.
he's in isolation.
It appears that James has finally grasped the severity of the situation, but only so when his freedom is on the line.
It was Sunday, the 18th, I think, right?
Yeah, Sunday the 18th.
The whole day I've been drinking wine that I had left at home, and I got a little bit of tequila left, so I've been drinking all day.
Who were you with?
Me and Carl. That night Robbie came over.
And whose house were you at?
Carl's grandpa's.
Out in the country?
Yes.
Okay.
And Carl was driving. He asked me if I wanted to go somewhere. I said yes, and Robbie came too. And he told us on the way what he was doing. And he said if we ever talked, we were dead.
Okay, then what did he say? He told you what we were going to do. What did he say?
He told us that we were going over to take Sydney and Carl. He told us we were going to. And he had the gun down his pants, a .22 pistol.
Although James is emotional and sounds very distressed as he's describing the series of events that transpired that night, it's unknown if he was really forced to go with Carl to commit this crime, or if he's just saying this now because they've all been caught. By telling the truth, he may even believe that this will lessen his responsibility for what happened. He sounds very emotional, but it's important to remember that while his tears could be due to feelings of remorse, they could also be a result of him being afraid for himself and what is going to happen to him now.
We went to the house, checked the doors, they were both locked.
So who all went to the house?
Me, all of us, me and Robbie.
Okay.
Robbie was to look at Carl said. Robbie and Carl lifted me up and made me unlock the doors and wake up Sid.
So lifted you up to where?
The patio.
And where'd you go once you got on the patio?
I unlocked the door, the front door.
How'd you unlock the front door?
The patio was unlocked.
Well, so it was unlocked. Are you talking about a regular door or a sliding door?
The sliding door was the patio.
Yeah, so it was unlocked.
Yes, and then I went downstairs and unlocked the downstairs basement door with the Sydney's room.
It's rather suspicious that the patio door to Sydney's room had already been unlocked, and given that this intrusion happened in the middle of the night, it might not be a coincidence.
I grabbed us so Tracy didn't wake up, because if Tracy woke up, Carl was going to shoot her. I wanted him to kill Tracy.
How did you know that Carl was going to shoot Tracy?
He told us before we walked in. He said, "No, leave no witnesses."
So you're in the house and you go down and let them in. And what happens next?
Carl points the gun at her and makes me wake her up. At first, she asked me what I was doing, and she knew who me and Carl were both, because she goes, James and Carl. She said our names. And she's trying to yell for Tracy. I didn't want Tracy to wake up, because if Tracy woke up and came downstairs, Carl was going to shoot her.
So what happened to stop that from happening?
I jumped on her so she'll be quiet and put my on her mouth, and then Robbie came over and helped me.
Is she on the bed or where?
Yes. She's on the couch thing.
Okay.
I asked her to be quiet. She started walking, and I taped her hands up, because Carl told me to, and I started taping her mouth when she ripped it and started yelling, Mom. I had to stop her because I didn't want Tracy to die.
It seems odd that James was apparently so concerned about Tracy, an adult he either didn't even know or barely knew, but didn't appear to show much concern for harming Sydney, who was a peer. The little regard he showed for Sydney's life makes it all the more likely that he felt the same toward her mom. As the grisly plan is underway, it seems that Carl is the ringleader in this twisted event.
I was by the door. James went to put some tape around her mouth, and she took it off and stood up. And I guess thought it was a joke, because she just stood up like normal and didn't act like anything was going on. And then Carl had the gun pointed at her, and that's when she kind of flipped out, and James grabbed her, and they wrestled to the ground and everything, and Carl walked over towards me and stood by me. She was kind of out wrestling him and everything, and Carl told me, help him. And I went over and I put her in a chokehold.
Show him.
Like, and she went unconscious. Carl said, get her outside. Me and James, I don't remember who had what end or whatever, but started bringing her outside. Right after we got out the door, she woke up again. And he said, put her in it again. James ended up putting her in a chokehold and kept it on her for quite a long time.
What happens next?
He put her in chokehold again and held it for several minutes. And he stopped, checked her pulse, and there wasn't one. James said, he'll get the car.
Okay. Now this is the important part we're talking about. What happened while he was going to get the car?
Carl sat there and smoked a cigarette.
So she's unconscious now, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even dead, right? So how did you guys get her to the car?
Somebody took an arm or a leg and just lifted her up and drug her.
Somebody.
Yeah, one of us took one arm, another guy took another arm, somebody took the legs.
So then why were pants down?
Well, I wasn't, I was walking behind them while they were dragging, until we got to the creek, and that's how the pants got down.
So you still say that the pants were pulled down because she was being drugged?
Yeah.
And so nobody touched her? You sure?
Not that I know of.
This statement is considered a qualification phrase, which can sometimes be an indicator of deception. It gives the suspect an escape in the event that they later need to retract what they said. The response is rather vague and leaves open the possibility that someone did assault her.
She woke up halfway down the creek, and so I just walked 2 feet, away, smoked a cigarette.
What do you mean she woke up?
I came to.
Okay, so she woke up halfway down the creek. And why did you walk away from that? Because they had sex with her?
No, somebody, choking her, so I just walked. I didn't think I went to, smoke a cigarette.
So who choked her?
Robbie was at that time.
Choking is commonly a crime of passion linked to jealousy and personal rivalry. But it's odd that Carl isn't the one to actually strangle Sydney, given the fact that the two had allegedly engaged in a short-term romance earlier that year. Supposedly, the relationship lasted for only a week, ending over another boy. In the past, Carl had allegedly vowed to take revenge upon all of the women that had scorned him, but no one would have thought he would take it this far.
And did anybody shoot her out there?
No.
Okay, and when you choked her this time, did she stay choked? Never woke up again?
No.
And how do you know it was Robbie that was choking her, not James? Because it was dark, wasn't it?
Because I could tell the trench coat from normal clothes.
Who had the trench coat on?
James. Just sat up and I'm like, hey guys, get back to it.
This comment is especially indicative of Carl's total indifference to the fact that this is a human life, and not just any human life, but a girl he knew and even had a brief romance with. Carl's behavior is very typical of individuals with antisocial personality disorder. As he sits there with a slouched posture, practically motionless, it's very evident that he is completely void of any empathy or remorse. When law enforcement recovered Sydney's body on July 25, 2010, she was unrecognizable and needed to be identified. In a meeting with detectives, Sydney's mother was asked if her daughter wore a specific type of necklace with a dangling music charm. Tracy confirmed it was Sydney's, and with the heartbreaking revelation, Tracy came to the terrible realization that her daughter was dead.
10 o'clock that night, you called Chad the next day. Is that right?
Yeah.
And why did you call Chad? What did you tell him?
Just to see what's up.
No.
Come on, Carl. You know, we're all
Did you tell him that mission's accomplished?
Told him the job's done.
Told him the job's done. And how did he know what job you had because of the phone call you made ahead of time?
Told him I want to go kill somebody.
And did you already tell him who that somebody was?
Yeah. Right after I got off the phone with Chad.
So when you called him before you went to Sydney's, you told him what you were going to do. And you wanted to make sure that he had got Dakota out of there?
Yeah.
Is that right, or
Yeah, that's right.
was that the plan?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure Dakota was out the house.
And he understood why Dakota was going to be out of the house. So you and him had talked about this, planning to do this.
Yeah.
To Sydney.
Carl's voice has become weaker and his words are short and prematurely cut off. He sounds defeated, and for good reason, as we'll soon learn.
It was late at night and it was dark, whatever, and them two showed up, and we was outside on my porch. They said, we need to talk, whatever. I had Chase stay on the porch, and we went around the house and talked about it. Said, we're going back tonight. We got to go. And I told him, I'm not going. I shouldn't have been involved. I didn't want to be involved. She was...
Is there a reason Carl, James, and Robbie did not like Sydney?
Robbie, I do believe, never knew Sydney. James, from what I have heard him say, he was getting mad because Sydney was apparently going around spray painting stuff and blaming it on him and Carl. And Carl, him and Sydney dated during spring break, which...
This year?
Yeah, which I think would have been the first weekend of April.
As you'll see, the next question that the detective asks will come as a total shock.
Which one of these warrants murder? Spray painting?
See,
No. Let's answer my question. We got to stay on track here.
Notice how Dakota begins to touch her nose here, possibly indicating that she feels uncomfortable and is trying to soothe her nervous energy.
Why would these three... I dated her for 2 weeks. She accused me of spray painting, and I don't know her at all. Why does that warrant someone being murdered?
I don't know. I think because they're dumb, probably. Because I think Carl threatened Robbie.
Has Chad had any issues with Sydney?
Not that I know of.
Dakota is using a qualification phrase here. possibly to cover herself if it's later revealed that Chad did have an issue with Sydney. The detective has now changed her position, moving closer in proximity to Dakota to assert a pressure-building tactic, specifically promoted in the Reed interrogation technique.
Listen, this has got to stop right here and right now, Dakota. Let's switch this around. Sydney is sitting in this chair. And you are the one that your mother just buried. What would you want Sydney to do for you?
As we have previously heard, there had been a rift between Dakota and Sydney well before her death, but it was never clear on how tumultuous their relationship was until now.
Dakota did not like her sister. She would always talk about how she did not like Sydney hanging out with us. She hated Sydney bothering us when she had us over. She would always yell at her and tell her to go the away and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, dude, like, you need to relax. Stop being mean to your sister, because, you know, that's your sister. I got back a hold of her. I was like, dude, what's going on? Where's your sister? Have you heard anything? This and that. She was just so nonchalant and was just like, oh, she probably just ran away again, da da da. And I was just like, okay, well, when Sydney died, I went to the funeral service because Tracy talked to me about it. So I showed up, and what bothered me and made me question about everything was the fact that Dakota was acting her normal self, smiling, bouncing around, just casually talking to everybody like it was no big deal.
What would you want Sydney to do for you? You know what? I've got two sisters. Growing up in a house, let me talk. Growing up, there's going to be a lot of arguments, okay? I argued with my sisters. I still do. We love each other very much. Sydney loved you very much. Don't you think she was scared that night? Yeah. You've got to tell us what happened. You know a lot more to this.
Blur the creek drag. Too raw, too violating. Let words carry the horror. James's sobs breaking on no witnesses. The choking. That indifferent, get back to it. Sydney waking terrified, fighting for breath as friends end her. It's betrayal distilled. Romance turned revenge. A girl you knew reduced to it. Carl's fee. Lat jobs done call? Sociopath echo. Pulse races with fury. She was 15, fighting demons alone, and they snuffed her spark. This isn't crime. It's soul crush. Her fear echoes. Why didn't love stop it?
Hey, come here for a second. Go ahead and turn around for Ginger right back, okay? You'll be under arrest for murder, all right?
Why?
You won't even ever mom here. Here, put your hand back.
What is going on? I'm being
on your back.
arrested for murder. What? I don't know what to do. Do what? Just call Grandma and Grandpa and tell them they need to call
Here, help her put on her shoes, okay?
After the trauma of Sydney's murder, it's no surprise that Dakota's mother is hysterical and seemingly not reacting to what's happening. She's already lost one daughter, and she doesn't want to lose another. Although there's been an ongoing investigation into her sister's death, Dakota may have thought that her name had been cleared in the process. It would be 2 years before she's brought back in for questioning, and in that time, the evidence against her has drastically mounted. It's October 5th, 2012. Now the entirety of the sick and twisted truth will finally be revealed.
Let's get over the hump, and let's talk about this door, and let's get this door out once and for all. You hear me? Once and for all. What did you do to that door? Tell me. Huh? What did you do? Okay, look at me. Take your hands away from your mouth and look at me. What did he do?
He told me to unlock the
door, but he never said lock.
And you unlocked the door.
So you're telling us, what are you telling us as far as what your knowledge is about the door being left unlocked when you were asked to do that and you did it? What did you think was going to take place?
They were just gonna scare her.
Okay, so that's what you're saying. It's not that you knew for sure they were going to go in and do it and kill her that night.
In a gut-wrenching confession, Dakota has now admitted that she did, in fact, leave the patio door unlocked. And although she provides a justification, it's clear that the detectives aren't buying it.
Now, you're at different meetings. They're plotting. You know, you brought out the first time we knew that they were conspiring to kill your mom. What was talked about if your mom woke up? What were they going to do to your mom if she woke up when they were doing this to Sydney? I need you to tell me what they said they were going to do to your mom.
Chad told me that they were just gonna shoot her if she had woke up.
As the layers of this terrifying story are continually peeled back, a slip of the tongue on the part of Dakota reveals another piece of information that she has been so desperately trying to hide.
Which meeting was this?
I don't know. I don't remember what days we had what days that they had.
Was it before?
No.
Before or after? Was it before or after she witnessed it?
You said we had meetings, they had, no, let's not go there, okay?
What day I wasn't.
Yeah, but you said we had meetings, and you've been at these meetings, correct?
Yeah.
Dakota knew exactly what was going to take place. She knew that her sister was going to be murdered, and she did nothing to stop it. And when it was done, she apparently shared in the appalling triumph.
And you said to celebrate. What was to celebrate about?
That it was done. That's what Chris they was referring to. And Carl, Chad. Carl's the one that said celebrating, said it several times, and put up toasts and stuff.
What did he tell us to?
That it's done.
So the whole time was Dakota knew all about this.
Yes.
What you're saying? She knew what you guys were toasting. She knew why.
She was smiling and all cheerful and everything, and toasted with it.
The group seemed to be quite happy with their organized murder, to the point that James was supposedly laughing when he viewed the tragic news segment on TV. Although, as we heard in his previous confession, his laughter had been replaced by hysterical cries. These would not be for Sydney, but rather for himself. James knew that he'd been caught, and his freedom was about to be stripped away. Nevertheless, it couldn't possibly compare to the way in which he brutally took hers. Following the crime on August 18, 2010, one of the group had written a note to Sydney's mother, apologizing for their unthinkable actions. Part of it read, "I just wanted to say how sorry I am. I'm not a bad person, and my life is getting taken away because of what happened. It seems like no one will believe me. I hope you do, and forgive me. I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and wish you the best." The writer's reference to their life being taken away is extremely self-centered, considering their punishment is the result of them choosing to end another person's life. Although they may in fact feel guilty, the penman is most likely seeking sympathy for themselves rather than truly understanding the ramifications of their actions. It has not been reported as to who the letter is from, nor if Tracy ever responded. Although Carl, James, and Robbie had already been arrested not too long after Sydney's body was found, it would be another 2 years on the same day as Dakota that Chad would also be taken in. Chad was brought in for questioning, but quickly requested his attorney, ending the conversation before it could even begin. Although, thankfully, he would not be getting off scot-free. Carl, one of the P-Town Saints' most loyal members, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 60 years in prison. But before he could be transferred to a federal prison, he was found deceased in his jail cell, a successful attempt at taking his own life. James was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 60 years in prison, while Robbie was convicted of home invasion and sentenced to 26 years in prison. Chad, the notorious gang leader, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for home invasion, the result of a plea agreement that dropped the charge of first-degree murder. And finally, Dakota, who some would say was the actual mastermind behind her sister's murder, pleaded guilty to home invasion as part of a plea agreement. As a result, prosecutors dropped murder, kidnapping, and burglary charges. She was sentenced to 26 years, but could be released from prison as early as 2023.
Dakota's the gut punch finale. Sister turning foe over a diary secret? Unlocking that door to scare, then toasting "it's done"? Smiling at the funeral while mom's shattered? Irony burns. The one who should have protected her orchestrated the end. Those tears for her dog over Sydney? Disturbing void. But verdicts? Justice's cold hug. 60 years each for killers, pleas dodging full weight. Reflective ache. Families heal fractured. But this? Scars eternal. Sydney deserved milestones, not a creek grave. We owe her remembering. Don't let silence bury more.